Hello, my name is Felipe Macian, I'm a plastic surgeon from Brazil. I'm feel pleased to participate in TDABs. Thank you for the invitation, for the kindness of the invitation. I'm feel flattered to talking about a subject that I really like, that is my learning curve about high definition lipoplasty, which the beginning until today was followed by Professor Alfredo. That makes me more proud. So thank you for the kindness, and let's talk. The learning curve in high definition body counting techniques. So my learning curve started with the use of the third generation of ultrasound. And the ultrasound is not new in plastic surgery. The ultrasound was born in the 80s with the first generation with Scuderi and Zocchi. In the 90s, born the second generation of devices. And the 90s, the number of complications increased. Second, Professor Alberto Giuseppe, this technology was placed on the market without adequate physical knowledge. Only 2001, born the Vaser. Vaser means vibration, amplification, sound, energy, and resonance. And we have two main aspects that are more developed in Vaser in comparison with two old generations. The first one is the frequency, the discovery, the frequency that makes the adipose resonate. So the Vaser works in 36 kilohertz. 36 kilohertz is the frequency to adipose resonate. And the main aspect is the Vaser allows the surgeon work in the areolar layer without damage. This is the most important feature. The second step is understand the three-dimensional concept. In this way, we can reach the first conclusion. The surgical approach known as high definition has its initial reasoning in anatomical remodeling structure in 3 dimensions. This technical approach, in fact, is the initial foundation for all surgeries involving the body count. As a definition, 3-dimensional space is one that has high, deep, and wide, which in practice indicates relief. 3-dimensional paintings promote a visual effect that gives us a sense of volume of the objects. When we say volume effect, it means that the figure has definition of high, wide, and mainly deep. This is the key point for the breaking the paradigm in body count. We need to be humble to leave behind all the concepts and depart for a new surgical approach. A good advice, don't sell the technique before you learn it. There is a thin line between beauty and distortion. So, in the beginning, we need to learn how to use the Vaser, we need to learn the concept of 3-dimensional space, and we need to be humble. This kind of approach has many differences. We don't need to remove all the extra fat to achieve a good result. We need to remove the strategic extra fat to reveal the structures above the skin. We need to understand the artistic concept, the shadows of and lights. Our body reflects in a uniform way the lights. And when we see a shadow in a human body, we see a part of anatomy with a thin thickness and deep. When we see light in a human body, we see volume. And the distance between shadow and light, we can see a tonal progression. This tonal progression can be translated with a different thickness in the path. Another important rule is everything or nothing. We are talking about a refinate approach. So, if we sculpt one anatomical unit and forget the other ones, the results will be weird. So we need to work in all the units. The abdomen is one of the 11 anatomical units to be sculpted. Although fat removal is part of the high definition technique, it is not the main objective. Another artistic concept is the concept of shape. And the concept of shape is generally a reflection of the union of muscle groups and bones. I don't know if all the colleagues know what is the Dunning-Kruger effect. It's not a rule for plastic surgeons. It is a rule for all the areas of our lives. Ignorance more frequently creates confidence. When we become more qualified in a given topic, we acquire a certain degree of humble that makes us ponder, listen, and have respect for the project or team presented. We start to understand that things are not as simple as they seem. So what attitudes were important in my evolution, my learning curve? Well, with the motivation, I start to draw the surface anatomy every single day. I'm going to show some examples. I create the habit to produce once a week ceramic sculptures, and I learn many things about shapes and little features in the surface. It's a very good habit too. And I studied hundreds of books about artistic anatomy. And this particular subject opened my mind. I bring a little comparison about one anatomy book for artists, then another one, human anatomy book. And we can conclude that the number of information in anatomy for artists is much more complete in comparison for the human anatomy. Besides that, the details of the topography are reliable across the entire abdominal wall, for instance, in the art book. So I asked for the colleagues, what is the reason for don't start to studying artistic anatomy books? Maybe is a good knowledge to put in surgical fields. And when we start to study these books, we started to compare the difference in anatomy between men and women. Well, this is my learning curve. So in the beginning, we feel more pleasure in the procedure because, well, we don't spend energy. The second phase that I want to make inflection point with about 150 cases has the characteristic of knowing that we are on the right path. On a scale of 0 to 10, our results were between 5 and 6. In this stage, we published an article showing low complication rates compared to the literature. And we work in 100% of these cases in the areola layer. And so this is a good point to think. Historical information about this approach, and that has nothing to do with my ego, please believe me, is that we are the pioneers in this kind of surgery in Brazil. We feel proud for this. And the third phase that we call the technical maturity, it's a very pleasant phase because we are able to predict the results before the surgery. It's a nice feeling. And our creativity increases in geometric progression. We can transform a surgical act into a surgical artistical act. I feel blessed because this is amazing. I developed a platonic passion for this kind of surgery. It's like a marriage well succeed if this example exists, but I didn't develop this kind of passion. So thank you.